There is a room in every hospital that most people try not to think about. Not because it is frightening exactly, but because it is honest in a way that the rest of life rarely is. The machines are quieter there. The conversations are different. The things people say in those final days, when the energy required to maintain appearances is no longer available, are different from anything you hear anywhere else. I spent a significant part of my working life in and around that room. Not as a doctor, as someone who was simply present, who listened, who sat with people in the last weeks and days of their lives and heard over and over and over again the things they needed to say before they could no longer say them. I am 74 years old now, and I have been carrying what those people told me for a long time. And I have been trying to decide whether to say it out loud, whether to bring what I heard in those quiet rooms into the noise of the world outside them. I have decided it is time, because what I heard was not random. It was not individual. It was not the particular regrets of particular people shaped by particular circumstances. What I heard with a consistency that shook me the first time I noticed it, and has never stopped shaking me, was the same things, said differently by different people, arriving from different directions, but arriving at the same place, every single time. And if you are sitting wherever you are sitting right now, living your ordinary, busy, forward-moving life, then what those people said is for you, specifically. Whether you are 35 or 55 or 70, whether your life is going well or badly or somewhere in between, what they said applies to you. I am certain of it. In a way I have rarely been certain of anything. Before I tell you, please, if you are willing to hear this, share it with someone who is living at a pace that doesn't allow for this kind of thinking. With someone who deserves to know what the people at the end of their lives consistently wished they had understood earlier. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't. These words came from real people in real rooms. The least they deserve is to reach as many ears as possible. Like this video. It costs nothing, and it might give someone something they cannot get anywhere else. Now, let me tell you what they said. The first thing, the one I heard more than any other, from more people than I can count, across more years than I want to number, was this: I lived the wrong life. Not in the dramatic sense, not in the sense of crime or catastrophe or obvious failure, in the quiet, specific, personal sense of a person who had spent their decades living the life that was expected of them, rather than the life that was actually theirs. The life their parents had mapped, the life their culture had prescribed, the life their fear of judgment had enforced, the career chosen for security rather than meaning, the marriage maintained for appearances rather than genuine love, the daily choices made in the direction of what was acceptable rather than what was true. I wish I had been braver, they said. I wish I had trusted myself more. I wish I had understood earlier that nobody whose opinion I was managing would be there at the end, and that the only person who would be there, accounting for all of it, was me. I heard that in one form or another from almost every person I sat with, and the specific, uncomfortable, urgent question it asks you, right now, sitting wherever you are, is this: whose life are you living? The second thing they told me, said more often by men than women, but said by both, was about work. Not that they had worked, not that building something and contributing and earning had been wrong, but the ratio, the proportion, the specific daily allocation of the finite hours of a finite life between the thing that paid and the things that mattered. They had got the ratio wrong, and they had known they were getting it wrong, and they had told themselves, as you were telling yourself, as I told myself, that the ratio was temporary, that it would correct itself when the project finished, when the children were older, when the loan was paid, when the position was secure, when things eased up. Things did not ease up. They never ease up on their own. The project is replaced by another project. The loan is replaced by another loan. The temporary imbalance becomes the permanent condition. And the years pass inside it, and the children grow up inside it, and the marriage lives inside it, and the life is spent inside it. And at the end, in the quiet room, the regret is not about the work, it is about what the work displaced. I should have been home more, they said. I should have been present more. I should have understood that the meeting I was in when my child did the thing they did, that meeting is not remembered now, but the child is, and the thing they did that I missed, that is remembered by everyone except the person who was in the meeting. The third thing, and this one arrived differently, more quietly, sometimes in the middle of a different conversation, as if it had been waiting for the right moment, was about the things left unsaid. The apology not made, the love not expressed, the conversation avoided for years because the timing was never right, or the courage was never sufficient, or the relationship felt too fragile to bear the weight of what needed to be said. They wanted to say those things before the end. Some of them did, some of them could not. The person was gone, or the window had closed, or the body no longer cooperated with the intention. And the ones who could not were not at peace about it. In a way that the other regrets did not produce, the unsaid things sat in them differently. Heavier, with a specific irreversible quality that the other regrets did not have, because the other regrets pointed at choices, at things that could have been different if different choices had been made. The unsaid things pointed at people, at specific human beings who had died without knowing something they should have known, who had lived their whole lives without hearing something they deserved to hear. And that knowledge, the knowledge that someone went through their entire life not knowing, that does not resolve. It is simply true, and it stays true. Say the things they told me, not someday, not when it feels less awkward. Now, while you can, while they can hear it, while the window is open. The window is always open for less time than you think. Please, right here, if this is reaching you, take 1 second, hit like, share this with one person who has something unsaid sitting between them and someone they love. Subscribe if you haven't. The people who told me these things are gone. Their words aren't. Let them reach someone who can still use them. The fourth thing they said was about happiness. And this one surprised me for a long time before I understood it. They had not been happy enough. Not in the grand sense, not seeking bliss or constant euphoria. In the daily, ordinary, chosen sense of a person who decides, moment to moment, to be present in their own life, rather than perpetually pointed at the next version of it. They had been waiting, that was the specific thing. They had been living in the future tense, waiting for the circumstances to align, waiting for the difficulty to pass, waiting for enough to feel like enough, and the waiting had consumed the life. The happiness they had been saving for arrival had never arrived, because arrival is not a place, it is a decision. And the decision had been deferred until the deferral itself became the life. I would have been happier, they said, not because the circumstances would have been better. The circumstances were what they were, but because I would have chosen to be. I did not understand that happiness was a choice I was making every day by how I directed my attention. I thought it was a destination. It was never a destination. It was always a direction. The fifth thing, and this was the one that stayed with me longest after I left those rooms, was about love. Not romantic love specifically. All of it, the full range. The love for children that got buried under the logistics of raising them. The love for friends that got swallowed by the distance and the busyness. The love for a spouse that stopped being expressed somewhere in the middle of decades of taking each other for granted. The love for life itself, for the ordinary, unremarkable, sufficient beauty of a Tuesday afternoon that had been invisible for most of the years it was available. I did not love enough, they said. I felt it, I had it, but I did not say it. I did not show it. I did not make it the central operating fact of the relationships I was in. I let it be assumed. I let it be implicit. I treated it like something that did not need to be actively given because it was already there. Love that is not actively expressed is not fully received. That is what they had learned. The person who had been loved silently, who had been carried in someone's heart for decades without knowing it, they had not experienced that love in the way it had been intended. They had experienced the silence, and the silence had felt like something else entirely. Say it, they told me, all of it, loudly, repeatedly, without embarrassment, without the English reserve, or the masculine reluctance, or the assumption that the other person already knows. They do not always know, and at the end the unexpressed love is one of the things that sits heaviest. Now I want to speak to you directly, without the buffer of the people I am describing. You have people in your life right now who do not know with certainty how much they matter to you. Not because you don't feel it, because you haven't said it recently, or clearly, or without a competing distraction pulling your attention elsewhere while you are saying it. You have things left unsaid, things you have been composing in your head for months or years, things that keep not finding their moment. You have a life that contains more ordinary happiness than you are choosing to acknowledge right now. More sufficient moments, more Tuesday afternoons that are in their quiet way exactly enough. None of the people I sat with at the end wanted dramatic last acts. They did not want grand gestures or sweeping reckonings. They wanted more ordinary days spent more honestly, more presence, more truth, more love expressed without embarrassment. They wanted, more than almost anything, for someone to go back and tell their younger self what they now understood. I am that person, right now, telling you, here is what I know after all of it. After all those rooms and all those conversations and all those years of sitting with people at the most honest point of their lives. Dying people are not afraid of death in the way that living people imagine they will be. Most of them, when the end is genuinely near, have made some peace with that. What they are not at peace with is something else entirely. The unlived life, the unexpressed love, the ratio they got wrong, the courage they did not have when the courage was needed, the ordinary days they passed through without fully inhabiting. The fear is not of what is coming. The fear is of what was missed, and the what that was missed was almost never dramatic. It was almost never the missed achievement or the unclimbed mountain. It was the quiet things, the person they should have called, the thing they should have said, the morning they should have stayed in bed a little longer and been present instead of already somewhere else in their mind. The ordinary things, done with genuine attention and genuine love, are the whole thing. That is what they told me. In room after room, across year after year, the ordinary things, done well, done presently, done honestly, done with the people you love, while the people you love are still there to receive them. That is it. The whole of it. Everything else is preparation for that, or distraction from it. And here is the warning that I have been building toward. The one I am giving you on behalf of every person who told me these things, and is no longer here to tell you themselves. You will not feel the urgency of this right now, the way you need to feel it. That is not a character flaw. It is the nature of being alive and well and in the middle of things. The urgency is only fully felt at the end. And at the end, the ability to act on it is significantly reduced. So I am asking you to do something genuinely difficult. I am asking you to feel the urgency now, without the crisis that normally produces it, without the diagnosis, without the loss, without the 2 a.m. phone call that changes everything, On an ordinary day, in the middle of an ordinary life, I am asking you to feel what those people felt, and then to go and do what they wished they had done. Call the person, say the thing, be present in the room you are actually in, rather than the room you are going to be in later. Love the people in your life with enough volume that they do not have to infer it. Not someday, today, this week, starting with the very next conversation you have with someone who matters to you. Because every person I sat with in those quiet rooms would have traded almost anything for one more ordinary Tuesday. Not a spectacular Tuesday, not a life-changing Tuesday, just an ordinary one, with the people they loved. Paying attention. If this reached you, share it. With anyone who is moving too fast to feel what I just said. With anyone who has something left unsaid. With anyone who deserves to hear, before they need it, what the people at the end consistently wished they had understood. Like this video. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment. Tell me what this made you want to do today that you have been putting off. I read everyone, and to everyone who spoke to me in those rooms, thank you. Your words are still traveling.